So these people who go around saying we don't want President Zuma and all that, they are just using President Zuma to campaign against us. And they want to create a fight between ourselves and President Zuma. There is no fight between us and President Zuma. President Zuma is supported by this organization. And there is no single individual in this collective who has gone out to discredit and decampaign President Zuma. He's uncontested. There is nobody who will contest President Zuma. Nobody. If you want to suffer a political humiliation, you must even think of contesting President Zuma.
Good day, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Mngoni Mkonto. Today, I just want to talk about the performance of the three presidents or the four presidents. Let me say first the four presidents, which will be President Mandela, President Mbeki, President Jacob Zuma, and President Cyril Ramaphosa. So I just want to compare the performance. I'll choose areas in which I want to compare and make comparison. But first I want to, in my comparison, maybe eliminate two candidates so that, and give reasons why I'm eliminating the two candidates beforehand. The first candidate that I want to exclude in this race is President Nelson Mandela. The reason I want to exclude President Mandela is because he did not do much in terms of administration work, in terms of getting things done, because I think he was busy. His main job was to convince the black man that the white man has changed and the white man now loves the black man. His main job was that. So most of the time he was dancing with white people, trying to show black people that white people do accept white people. So white people do accept black people. So I think that was his work basically. So I don't want to include him unfairly in this competition. And the other one that I want to that I want to exclude in the competition, or should I, so that the people who say they can see, the people who talk too much can see how my hair look like. So the other candidate that I want to exclude in the race is President Ramaphosa. And the reason why I want to exclude President Ramaphosa is because he did not do much under his leadership. The record speaks for themselves. There's nothing much he did. So if you know anything that President Ramaphosa did, in terms of what I will be talking about here, if I eliminated him unfairly, you can maybe tell us, give us the facts, show us according to what we are going to say here, how did President Ramaphosa did. So basically the candidates that are left, I have President Thabo Mbeki and President Jacob Zuma, the ones that are left for comparison in terms of performance in government. In terms of social spending, President Thabo Mbeki, when he exited his office, when he exited his office, I think 13 million South Africans were enrolled in social grants. About 13 million people were enrolled in social grants. He did well, and then and the reason I'm saying he did well, it's because mainly he was focusing on helping children, because about 8 million of that 13 million were children. It was money, grants given for children. So 13 million South Africans were enrolled in social grant when he exited. Let's check how many South Africans were enrolled under President Zuma. Record says 17 million South Africans were enrolled in social grants when President Zuma exit his presidential office. So numbers normally don't lie. We can say in terms of social spending and in terms of social cohesion, President Zuma performed very well than when we compare with President Mbeki. Of course, we take into account that President Thabo Mbeki laid the foundation. But even when you lay the foundation, the one who succeeds can actually even destroy all the work and the foundation that you build. So even on the social spending of President Zuma, majority of his spending were temporary interventions measures, because temporary interventions measures is when you spend money to help children to feed themselves, to be able to go to school, because you are still trying to create jobs for their parents. So that can be temporary spending, temporary measures. Compared to President Ramaphosa, his spending in social grants is motivated by politics, because he is not spending his grants in the people who are vulnerable in society. He's spending his grants in people who are capable of working and people who are capable of caring themselves. But for the sake of political reasons, for the sake of calming people down because people are not working, then you introduce social grants. I would say that is rather conniving. It's not genuine spending on social grant. It's very conniving because it creates reliance on useless stuff. It creates a reliance on something which is almost even not there. I mean, the grant does not even exist because all of that money will, at the end of the day, will go to ShopRite or any big shop. In actual fact, let me just say ShopRite, because in villages, ShopRite is everywhere. So the whole money will just go to ShopRite and it will go to alcohol spending. That's why they want black people to be, black children to go and spend in alcohol and forget about talking about their politics and talking about their country. They want them drunk. Yeah, so that's why they give them. So I think that was conniving. We're not supposed to spend grants on people who are not vulnerable members of society. We're supposed to spend grants on people who are vulnerable members of society who can do on their own. And sometimes only as emergency measures. Okay, so let's move to housing. By the end of his term, President Mbeki has built 514,000 housing units for poor people. And by the end of his term, President Jacob Zuma has built 1.2 million houses for poor people, the one we call the RDPs, people, those who come from villages and townships will know about the RDPs, and they know exactly how it look like inside. So, in terms of housing, President Zuma as well wins. He basically increased his infrastructure spending from about 170 billion to 390 billion during his first term of office. In terms of schools, President Mbeki built how many schools? About 143. Yeah, 143 new public schools, high schools, and primary schools. President Mbeki builds that number of schools. And then President Zuma built 187 new schools and renovate about 790 mud schools, like schools which were existing but in very bad conditions, without toilets, without without fencing. We all know that during the time of President Zuma, there has been a lot of spending in school fencing and school, just school improvement in generally. President Zuma has spent a lot of money in education. During his term, President Zuma has prioritized education. He even divided the higher education and the lower education in terms of administration. He separated the administration so that there is priority given to each I would say each department or each section of education, which was we all know that under President Zuma, it's where the issues of TVET colleges were implemented. We all know that President Zuma is the only president who has ever built a university in South Africa. Nelson Mandela did not build any university. Mbeki did not build any university. President Zuma is the only one who built 2 universities, which is Sol Plaatje and Mpumalanga, University of Mpumalanga. Those are the 2 universities that were built by President Zuma. And anyone who has ever been to Nelspruit and saw the University of Mpumalanga would understand that President Zuma was not playing. It's actually a very serious and beautiful infrastructure. He takes education very, very, very serious. So, more children got access to universities during the term of President Zuma. More children got access to FET colleges. Actually, NFSAS started to pay for students at FET colleges during the time of President Zuma. So, in terms of education as well, I would give it to President Zuma. I don't know if anyone has got contrary view. You can just tell and give facts on how the other people performed. Give numbers, because I want us to talk about numbers, not just to talk English, because there are other people who have mastered the art of talking for a long time and without saying anything. Like Julius Malema. I think Julius Malema has mastered the art of talking he can talk for 5 minutes and you listen for the whole 5 minutes and you want to hear exactly what was the core of his message. You can't find what was he saying exactly. So other people have mastered talking for longer time without saying anything. President Ramaphosa is one of them. He's able to talk for hours without saying anything. When you want to listen, to what he's saying, you only hear English words. But the words that comes there, you cannot construct anything that you can actually say, I will hold him responsible for. You cannot find anything, you cannot learn anything from what he's saying. Well, back to what I'm actually talking about. I think also in terms of education, President Zuma wins. In terms of roads, infrastructure, and rural infrastructure spending, we all know that clinics started operating under President Zuma in villages. Clinics started operating 24 hours in some areas, in rural areas. In terms of new hospitals, records says President Zuma built 43 new hospitals, and President Mbeki built 10 new hospitals. So even in terms of health, President Zuma wins. President Zuma is the one who gave access to HIV people. He gave access to ARVs. That was critical because people were dying. He's the one who gave access to millions of people and to ARV and saves lives. Now it's even difficult to hear people talk about HIV these days because President Zuma resolved that problem by giving access to ARVs, and people were saved. It was no more a serious or a death-causing problem anymore. So, even in terms of health, I think I'll give it to President Zuma again. Overall, the overall winner, let me give it to President Jacob Zuma. If you have a contrary view, please give numbers, comment below, and subscribe. Thank you.
Mr. de Klerk, you talked about in the negotiations everybody had to compromise. What was the biggest compromise you entered into?
In the end, even with the advantage of hindsight, I feel that the final outcome was quite near to what I envisaged as the leader of the National Party when we, on the 2nd of February 1990, laid the foundation for a negotiated settlement. But I would say that from the white people's point of view, who really held all the major reins of power in South Africa,